going to shoot this video of this MaG-Rav enclosure. What this is a piece of 4-inch PVC sewer pipe with 2 drain caps, and these parts can be bought at a local hardware store. And this is a 14 gauge cable. Now, what this is it started out as a surge protector with a 12-foot cable. I cut it in half, and I use one side for the input and one side for the output. It's the only way I could find some 14 gauge white material. They have black, and I think they have other colors, but it was really hard to find white in 14 gauge. And these are cable glands which give it some strain relief so it doesn't pull out. This is a dry run. I'm trying to fit the parts together. I want to make sure that everything fits and it goes according to plan. So when I nanocoat it and do the final assembly, hopefully I won't have any problems. So anyway, these are spacers. Now the spacers are made from the same material as this outer pipe. And what I did was I just cut a section of it out, and then you just squeeze it together and it makes a nice spacer. And it's got a series of spacers in here with the stacker trays and a lower capacitor tray, and I'm going to go over how this is assembled. So it has to be assembled upside down. Now here's these wires here. These are the wires for the electricity. Now here's the last spacer tray. I'll pull that out. Alright, so this is the capacitors tray, and that in the center is a thermal switch. And I'll just kind of show this here. It's very compact and it's a little different. I try to simplify everything, try to keep the connections as simple as possible. Okay, so the idea I came up with was the way this had to go into the tube. You have to be able to connect these wires here to the lower stacker tray, and then once it's together, then you can connect the electricity wires and the other things here to make the final connections, and those are accessible on the outside. So that was the idea I came up with. Half of the connections are on one side of the tray and the other half on the other. Okay, I'll set that over here. So I just want to go over how this thing is assembled. So all the spacers together work like a compression, and it has to be assembled upside down. So I'm just going to push this up. There we go. So okay, so that's the bottom tray. Now this is just a dry run, so none of these wires are cut to the right lengths or anything. Okay, so here's the next one up here. That's the middle. There's the spacer, and this is the top stacker tray. Okay, so I'll get one of those little here. I'll take this middle one. Okay, so the stacker trays are all made the same way. It's a sandwich between 2 pieces of corrugated plastic with a 20mm Gans ball in the center, and it's held together with these cable ties. And these are just regular MaG-Rav coils. Okay, so here's the way it goes in. Turn the tube upside down, and you start by putting this. The top goes in first, like this, and then it gets pushed down, and then a spacer gets put in. And then the middle goes in next. Whoops, this way. Then it gets pushed down. Well, it gets connected, and then you get another spacer here. And the last stacker tray would be the bottom one, and these pieces get connected. and that gets pushed down again. Okay. Okay, then this capacitor spacer goes in here like this, and then the capacitor tray goes in like this. Well, the wire these wires get connected, and then I'll push it down. And then the last thing to get connected, well, this spacer goes in first, and the last thing to get connected would be the electrical wires. Now, I had to come up with a different way to make these final connections where the nanostate connects to the matter state. So this is what I came up with. So this is the copper wire, which is going to be nano-coated, and this is the stranded wire, which is the stranded wires here that connect to it. So what I came up with was something that works sort of like a wire nut. So I'm going to take the stranded wire and I'm going to wrap it all the way around like this, all the way around and up to the end and past the end. And then this is a piece of clear vinyl tubing, and it's 1/8 inch ID by 1/4 inch OD, and it's just twisted on over the top of that to hold it together, and it's pretty secure. And I don't know if this is going to work. I'm hoping it's going to work, but it seemed logical to me, so that's what I'm going to try, and I'll see if it works. Anyway, that's how I'm going to make these connections on these pins right here. So that's how those parts get connected. And then the last part that gets put in here is the base, and it's fastened with screws, and it's turned upside down, and the top section goes on like this, or the top spacer goes on, and the top spacer is intentionally, well, the sum total of all the spacing is intentionally taller than this outside piece by only a little bit. So this way, compression, when this is pressed down on it, the compression will hold all the pieces together, and then you put 3 screws in the top. Okay, that's how it goes together, and that's the end of the video.